Hello everyone and welcome back to Sports Today. We usually in the morning time end up doing this one video with you where we recap some things you might have missed out on whilst you were catching up on some all important sleep, because whilst you need sleep, I need sleep, the whole world needs sleep. The world of sport never really sleeps. We're joining you a little later than usual today, but that's just because, well, work timings are such. But we're still going to catch up with you guys and ensure that you don't miss out on some things that have been happening. And believe me when I say there have been a few interesting tidbits and news items that have been taking place whilst we were getting up on some rest. So without any further ado, let's get straight to it. Now, before we talk about in detail over some of the things regarding India's preparation for the second test at which is going to be taking place, of course, in Newlands, Cape Town. There have been plenty of question marks raised over the way India lost in that first test, and one of the people who have joined, let's say, that bandwagon is former India cricketer Subramaniam Badrinath, who in fact has openly questioned whether or not Rohit Sharma should even be the test captain. He said very clearly, look, Kohli is the better player and the better leader in test cricket. Why exactly is he not captain again? Rohit is the weaker player of the two in test, so Kohli is basically playing under a weaker player. Pretty big claim, but to be fair, the numbers do in fact back up that Rohit's record at times in the Sena Nations probably isn't the best. Yet that being said, probably not the best of times to be questioning whether or not your captain, who is leading you and has done a decent enough job, albeit probably not in Sena Test, should be replaced. That being said, that is an opinion that has been getting some steam, because you'd remember we've done an entire dugout as well on it. A lot of people were questioning Rohit Sharma's captaincy and saying, no, maybe we need to go back to Virat Kohli. How good or bad a move that would be, well, that's something we've already discussed. But it's safe to say that Rohit Sharma definitely feeling the heat right now and could probably use a nice little win, especially considering it's an overseas game, to ensure that the heat is taken off him a little bit, because right now definitely there's a huge scanner on his role, both as a captain and as a batter, neither of which he's got a great record when it comes to Sena Nations. So a bit unfortunate, but that's the nature of the beast. You are expecting to be winning tests all the time when you are India, and if you don't and you lose, especially so in the manner at which you lost in that first game, well, unfortunately it's just going to come back to bite you very bad. Now, speaking of course, that first test, Rohit Sharma, as I said, didn't have the greatest of outings, but if news reports are to be believed, there's been plenty of work being put in by him to ensure that one of his biggest weaknesses don't come back to haunt him come that second test. What exactly is that weakness? I'm of course talking about the in-swinging delivery catching him out. In the nets, ahead of course, the second test, he spent close to 45 minutes facing deliveries from Mukesh Kumar, who is known to be able to get the ball to move both ways, and he was consistently asking him to get the ball to swing back inside so that he could, kind of acclimatize to playing that delivery. Rohit spent close to 45 minutes in the nets facing deliveries from Mukesh Kumar, and at times he was beaten, but at times he managed to fend it off just fine. Now, it's interesting because, again, one of the biggest weaknesses that Rohit has always been the swinging ball early on. There's no doubting the fact that Rohit Sharma as an opener in Test cricket has been a success, but that one weakness has forever been a part of his armory and was in a way exploited even in the first test. He wasn't out in swinging deliveries, but definitely it was the ball swinging in the second innings of that first test at Centurion, which ended up getting him out. So he also knows that this is something he probably needs to work a little harder on, has been putting in the hard yards. Another small update, and we'll do another video on that later on, is that Ravindra Jadeja was apparently practicing and is recovered from the back spasms he felt in the first test. So should potentially be fine for that second test match. Now, of course, whether he replaces Ashwin or Shardul Thakur remains to be seen, because you remember Shardul picked up a bit of an injury, but playing two spinners in Cape Town might not make a lot of sense. So we'll see how exactly that goes. Of course, the test is still a few days away, thanks in no small part to the fact that the first test ended so quickly. And another person who would be looking for an upturn in form from that particular game is Shubman Gill. Now, Shubman Gill has been having a pretty bad time of things as far as his form goes for the past 5-6 months, and that's across formats, but especially so in Test cricket, because since the time of the West Indies series, he switched positions. You remember he started off as an opener, then he said, no, I'm going to bat at number 3. 2 tests in the West Indies, didn't have a good time at all, and now even in this first test against South Africa did not look comfortable at all. His form has been questioned, and he's gotten a bit of advice from Sunil Gavaskar, who says that Gill naturally someone who's a bit of a stroke maker, looks to be attacking early on, probably needs to curb those instincts, because in red ball cricket, the red ball, it ends up swinging a lot more and will offer you a lot more bounce as well. So it's not like the white ball, which after some initial movement will kind of die off. The red ball obviously stays alive a lot longer, saying that Gill needs to negotiate that part early on and then look to play his natural game. He's saying obviously he's a quality player, but he's been in a bit of slump, and you hope that he can work hard and rediscover the form that made him such a good player. And truth be told, I think there's no Indian cricket fan who wouldn't want that, because again, Gill has been someone very solid performer across formats. You'd want him to get that form back ASAP, and maybe taking Sunny G's advice might be the way to go. Be a little circumspect early on, attack later in your innings. Switching our focus now from Indian cricket to international cricket, and the third T20I between Bangladesh and New Zealand. Again, a rain-affected game, but saw New Zealand end up winning thanks in no small part to Mitchell Santner playing a very, very good role in the victory, not only with the bat but with the ball. He took 4 wickets and also contributed some handy runs lower down the order to ensure that New Zealand won a rain-truncated game and end the 3-game series 1-1. 1-1 is because the second game was entirely washed out. There was no result possible, and New Zealand had lost, imagine, the first game. So definitely a good strong end to the series by the Black Caps, but T20s are of course going to be the focus in this coming few months, because right after the IPL you have the T20 World Cup. So pretty good result all around, but bit surprising that they ended up losing to Bangladesh in the first place and were only able to draw the series. Switching our focus now from the world of cricket to the world of football, and Manchester United, well, they've had an up and down time with things recently, and their down kind of came this time once again in the final fixture that they have of 2023, when they lost to Nottingham Forest away from home. The Nottingham Forest had never really beaten Manchester United in a home fixture for quite a while, so it was a fixture that United were definitely entering as favourites, but Forest took the lead. The United equalized thanks to Marcus Rashford, but Morgan Gibbs-White ended up scoring a second goal that turned out to be a winning goal for Nottingham Forest, and the win leaves United in 7th place. But again, the battle for spots in the Premier League is so tight that they could potentially be as low down as 9th come the end of this particular game week. Last bit of news now, but British tennis star Emma Raducanu, someone who became a world superstar in 2021 when she won the US Open, and has kind of petered off since, and it would be a bit of an understatement to say that, but still very young, and has recently spoken about how she expects 2024 to be a better year for her, because since then 2022-23 she's struggled with 2 things. 1, a constant change of coaches. 2, injury issues. Injuries was definitely the major problem in 2023. Was not fit, couldn't get a consistent run of time on the court. She's hopeful that that's now a thing of the past and that 2024 can be better. Obviously, if you are a fan or if you follow women's tennis, you know that in recent times you've not really had those dominant figures. Raducanu won a Grand Slam very young, but has since petered off, and it's a story that we've seen a lot over the past 2 decades. You'd hope that for the sake of the sport and for her own sake, the British star can get back up on top and ensure that she can build off that 2021 US Open rather than it be a one-off Grand Slam title win. And that's it from us in this edition of The Wrap with Sports Today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget, like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Don't forget to download the SportsTech app. And if you're already on the channel, well, then go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. For now though, from my side, it's goodbye.